It's 7 o'clock. Before we get started, the Village of Anmore would like to open our meeting by recognizing the many Indigenous peoples of our area, including the following First Nations with communities that are located in the region that we now know as Metro Vancouver: the Musqueam, Squamish, Tsleil-Waututh, and Coquitlam. Further, we'd like to honor the important place in history occupied by the many territorial keepers of these lands and waters around us since time immemorial. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Could I get someone to move the agenda to be approved as circulated? Moved. Second. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Public input. Matters raised here are for Council's consideration and should be constructively focused on agenda items only. Please limit comments to 2 minutes. Anybody want to come up for public comments? Again, we will not be able, under Section 64 of the procedure bylaw, will be nothing to do with Anmore South. So go ahead.
Good evening. Harriet Chang, 147 Fern Drive. I just wish to publicly thank Councillor Doug Richardson for his presentation at Council last week on Tuesday, June 10th, which put significant concerns that the community has with the Icona development on the public record. I'm truly grateful to be heard. Today I was on the BC government website and reading about the role of the mayor and councillors, and what stood out to me was one of the leading responsibilities, and this was consider the well-being and interests of the municipality and its community. Consider the well-being and interests of the municipality and its community. This is a tumultuous time. What I invite you all to do this week is to truly listen to the concerns of Anmore residents. Have conversations. Read the signs. Reflect. Be true to yourself and be honest. You were voted in for a reason. You all have a very important role to support the well-being and interests of your community. Please follow your heart and do what is right. I believe in you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments before we move on? Okay, we'll move on. We have 2 delegations tonight. We have Dr. Hal Weinberg's scholarship presentation. We have the 2025 recipient, which is a Miss Addison Brown. Congratulations. And if we would be so lucky, we would all like to get a picture with council with your new certificate, and then you'll be forwarded along. So if you could come on up.
Flags. I think Karen wanted the green thing. Karen, green thing or flags? Sorry? Green thing or flags? Let's do the flags.
Now we have, move on to delegations. We have a Miss Georgia Isaac, and I will be recusing myself at this point, and I think it's the acting chair, Councillor Trowbridge, will be taking over.
Thank you. You have something to read to us or tell us, so why don't you just go ahead?
Okay, we'll do that. Thank you. Hello, my name is Georgia Isaac. I want to first of all thank Mayor and Council for allowing me to be a delegation and present my request this evening. I was born and raised in the village of Anmore. Anmore holds a very special place in my heart. When I got engaged this year, I wanted so much to make the village a part of our celebration by hosting our engagement party here. We would like to host our engagement on the afternoon of the September 27th from 2 to 5 p.m. We have learned that the policy for alcohol with rentals is under finished by the end of September, but I would really like to get my invitations out to my family members as soon as possible. I'm here to ask Council to pass a motion granting an exception for the engagement event of Georgia Isaac to allow beer and wine at the Hub on the afternoon of September 27th, 2025. This policy may be changed by the date of the event, but I would really appreciate your help tonight so that we can start planning and preparing. I will ensure to comply with all of the rental requirements for the Hub. It would be very meaningful to me, my family, and my friends and neighbors if we could host our celebration here. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Georgia. Okay, so do you have a motion so we can discuss this? If you'd feel more comfortable, you can, as long as you can hear us, you can sit there. Yeah, you don't have to feel uncomfortable standing in the middle of the room.
A motion would be that council grants an exception for the engagement event for Georgia Isaac to allow beer and wine at the Hub on the afternoon of September 27th, 2025.
Move. Do I have a mover? Yep. Seconder? Okay.
Thank you, Georgia, for coming. Absolutely, you have my support. It's exactly what we want to have this hub for, so congratulations.
Congratulations, Georgia. I'm totally supportive of this, and I want to be supportive for anybody in the village to have this kind of thing.
Okay, seeing nothing more, we'll just call the question. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Georgia, and congratulations.
Karen, you can tell her she doesn't have to stay around. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Okay, we'll move on to the adoption of the minutes of the regular council meeting held on June 10th, 2025. Could I get someone to move those minutes? Second, any discussion? See none, all those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Any business arising from any of the minutes? No? Okay, we have a consent agenda. One item on it. Could I get someone to move the consent agenda? Seconded. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Legislative reports, 9A, 2024 annual report presentation. Could I get someone to move the recommendation first? Moved. Second. Ms. Elrick.
Thank you. So the annual report is before council this evening for approval. The draft of the annual report has been posted on the website and appropriate notice given to the community. No comments have been received from the community. And I would also like to take the opportunity before council moves ahead with their decision and asks any questions to acknowledge the team here at Anmore that created the annual report. It's our finance department, our corporate office, and our communications department all works together to put this document together every year with input from all of the departments. So it's a culmination of a lot of hard work, and very proud of the achievements contained in the report, and happy to answer any questions that council may have.
Any questions about the annual report? It really came together really nicely. I thought a great job to all the staff, so thank you again. Seeing no questions, I'll call the question then. All those in favor? Carried unanimously. Thank you, Ms. Ulrich. We'll now move on to 9B, management report and statement of financial information. Could I get someone to move the recommendation? Moved, seconded. Ms. Martin.
Thank you. The Sophie report is brought forward as an annual report that we bring to the province each year, and it is brought forward just for receive and approval.
Any questions? It's been moved and seconded, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Okay. On to Mayor's report. I guess we have no unfinished business, new business. Mayor's report, just wanted to identify as well that there is going to be a public hearing here on Monday and possibly Tuesday, depending on the amount of people that come. So I believe it starts at 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Any councillors' reports? Oh, Councillor Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor McEwen. I wanted to mention that I went to the Coquitlam Search and Rescue open house. They had their first open house that they've ever done. It was very well attended. I think I was the only one from Anmore because you guys were all at the fire trustee meeting. Coquitlam had all of theirs, their councillors present, and Belcara. It was very nice, and they will do it again, so I would encourage you to go to it. They went to their different stations, all of the rescue equipment that they have. It was very nice. And I believe CAOs can go as well. I would recommend it. You get to see where our money goes.
Good, good. Any other council reports? No, see none. We'll go on to CAO reports.
Thank you. Just a reminder to folks that tax due date is coming on July 2nd. So there's several options for payment. If you do not have your tax bill, please give us a call at the village and we'll make sure that we get that over to you. Additionally, as Mayor McEwen mentioned, there is a public hearing scheduled related to the Anmore South OCP amendment bylaw on Monday at 6 p.m. here at the Village Hall. There's a sign-up sheet here at the Village Hall for any persons that wish to sign up ahead of time. However, you do not need to sign up ahead of time. You can just show up if you want to provide your comments, or additionally, there's options that were provided in the notice and on our website if you would like to submit any comments by email. And if you have any questions about the process, please contact the Village Hall and we'll be happy to answer your process-related questions. Thank you.
Good, thank you. Number 16, information items. We had some correspondence from the City of Campbell River from June 5th regarding resource communities across British Columbia. And we had some correspondence dated June 5th in the Village of Chase regarding funding for public education. I'll open up for a public question period. I will remember that the village is following section 64B from direction from our legal under the procedure bylaw, which states comments made during delegations, public input and question period must be directed to council and will not be acknowledged if they concern a matter where a bylaw or matter is subject to a public hearing or where a public hearing has been waived or not permitted. I did receive one letter for regarding, and I will ask that question right now, regarding the $2 million related to a charge to Jacob Brothers that was in the Sophie report. Ms. Martin?
Thank you, Mayor McEwen. Regarding the Jacob Brothers, that was on the statement of financial information. That was from deferred payments, but also Jacob Brothers worked on multiple projects rather than just the hub.
Okay. And then the other one was a severance charge as well.
So the severance charge is presented on the statement of financial information, is presented to the extent that we're allowed to post publicly, which is the months of severance and how many we had.
Okay, good, thank you. Any other public questions? Yeah, please. Oh.
through that? Am I close? Can you hear? Yeah? Yeah?
Okay, please.
Okay, it's Leslie Hannigan, 1065 Thompson Road. I have a couple things here. Can you can't hear me? Yeah? I can like crouch down. So a couple of questions. The first one, I'm back to my same old thing. At the last council meeting, I was told by Councillor Reverick to reach out to Ms. Elrick for the answer to that question of what recent change in provincial legislation was responsible for the creation of the bylaw that shut down all questions and answers about the Icona proposal during public question period. So I reached out to Ms. Elrick, and the answer I received was a copy of the May 20th council meeting agenda with the comment, "I will have no further comment on this matter." So my questions are, does the change in provincial legislation exist, or can we just say that we were shut down with a fabricated reason?
I think you've been given an answer already, Ms.
Pardon?
I think you've already been given the answer from our CAO. She already sent you the answer.
No, I haven't. I was wondering the provincial legislation that was the reason for the bylaw. We've gone through this kind of.
I believe it, yeah, the two are separate, but Ms. Elrick, do you have any comments on?
I did provide you with the copy of the report related to the adoption of the bylaw and the history of that, and there is no further comment.
Okay.
Okay, my question is, your comments several times were that we were shut down, that bylaw shuts us down, and it was based on a recent change in provincial legislation, which nobody can find and the MLA can't find. And I'm just wondering again what that provincial legislation change was.
So,
We are relying on our bylaw that was adopted, item 64B, and that's all that we have to comment.
Okay, so you realize there's not really an answer to this, correct?
I think the answer isn't what you're looking for.
Pardon?
The answer is not what you're looking for, but we've given you the answer.
Well, I'm not looking for any answer. I'm looking for a answer.
Yeah, and you received one. So what is your next question?
Okay, and this is on behalf of somebody else that couldn't make it today, which I think was emailed as well. It was from Lynn Burton, and she's asking, in the annual report.
I just answered those two questions.
Sorry?
I just answered those two questions.
What two questions? How do you know what I'm asking? Sorry?
She sent it to me as well about the $2 million from Jacob Brothers as well as the severance.
Yes.
Yeah, already answered them. Yeah.
Like answered her directly, you mean?
I just answered the email.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Okay, and also the one about the $2 million?
Yep.
Yeah,
answered
that's
it.
all been answered. I'm sorry.
Yep,
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Well, I'll bend over. So it's Jurga Dirkten, 1815A East Road. I just have a question pertaining to last council's meeting. It was last week. There seems to be a kind of discrepancy because Paul Fenske of Placemark was able to talk about the neighborhood plan and use that term, while no member of the public was able to speak about, quote, you know, that word we're not supposed to say, or those two words we're not allowed to say, Anmore South. So why is it that we had the delegation speaking on behalf of Anmore South and the public blocked? I mean, there seems to be a kind of discrepancy here. Can you explain that, please?
We've had many people come and talk about the proposal. We just are not going to be engaging in the conversation whatsoever, nor did we with Mr. Fenske.
Yeah, but Article 64B actually mentions delegations. That's the first item in that
Not
list.
right before a public hearing.
No, I'm actually talking about our item 64B.
Yep.
And it starts off saying delegations are prohibited from speaking about Anmore South. Why is it that Placemark could and the public couldn't? Can you explain that?
I think Councillor Trolbert's going to...
I think what you're referring to is people can speak about it. We cannot acknowledge it. We can't respond, is how I understand it.
Yeah.
Ms. Elrick, is that correct?
The bylaw states comments made during delegations, public input, and question period must be directed to council and will not be acknowledged if they concern a matter. And the matter that you're speaking of is B, where a bylaw or matter may be subject of a public hearing or where a public hearing has been waived or not permitted. So acknowledged is the language in the bylaw.
Okay.
Do you have another
So
question?
Paul Fenske was acknowledged, but the public wasn't. That seems to be my
Do you ha-
observation.
Do you have
That-
another question?
I have no other questions. I think this question is big enough. Thank you.
Thanks. Okay.
Leslie Hannigan again. So what Jürgen was just talking about, is that the same bylaw that I'm talking about as well? Because on May 6th, like you're saying that you're allowed to listen now, but on May 6th, we were not allowed, like you're saying now we're allowed to ask the questions, but you won't answer them, or the delegations can speak, but you won't respond. But on May 6th, we were not even allowed to ask, and that's my question.
I don't know what, that's, yeah. So,
Sorry.
I don't believe that was the case. I believe that's how it was interpreted by residents in the audience. Not that we were saying you couldn't answer the question, or ask the question, rather. We can't acknowledge it. So it is somewhat pointless to ask a question that we can't acknowledge.
Right, but just respectfully, if you go back to that council meeting, we were clearly not allowed to ask the question.
I don't believe that's the case. No. Please.
It's, okay, I'll take your word at it, but it's very clear that it was, you can't ask, and we were clearly shut down. It was completely different than it is now, where we can at least talk and get no answer. So that's just there's no answer to this, obviously.
Thanks. Okay, motion to adjourn. Moved, seconded. Any discussion? See none. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.